The contextual modifying factors, including political dynamics, social forces, economic conditions, and expectations from families and communities, have impacted greatly upon the philosophical underpinnings of different models of education. Today, I will be making a comparative analysis between Montessori education, specifically the Brisbane Montessori School, and a private school that I attended on the Gold Coast, King's Christian College. The Montessori Institute explains that Montessori is an approach to education based upon the belief and the principle that schooling should work with the nature of the student instead of against it. Therefore, education should be based upon scientific study of the child and a resulting understanding of the processes of development and learning. This anthropological view allows teachers to see students holistically as independent beings where they are agents for their own learning. King's has a solid pastoral emphasis and views students as vessels needing to be nourished with love, security, and boundaries. They also view students as having the potential to become great leaders. Therefore, leadership opportunities are given in and out of the classroom for students to develop these leadership characteristics. The philosophical view of the learner can be traced back to the biblical worldview that children are precious because they're made in the image of God. This is because Christian epistemology is based on the Bible being its primary source. Maria Montessori stated that education should no longer be mostly imparting knowledge, but must take a new path, seeking the release of human potentials. The goal of Montessori education is not to merely impart knowledge, but to foster and kindle a child's natural ability and desire to learn. Instead of textbooks and worksheets, the classroom is full of hands-on materials which encourage students to explore, discover, and progress at their own rate. While Montessori focuses on freedom within education, King's believes that firm boundaries are essential to helping a child grow physically, mentally, socially, emotionally, spiritually. Their mission statement is educating students in Christian leadership for tomorrow's generation. King's firmly believe that true leadership is demonstrated by a person's character, beliefs and values, and the application of skills and knowledge, and this axiological belief is what drives their goal of education. Montessori believed the dictress, or teacher, had a unique role in the classroom as an observer and facilitator. Warner and Sower described that Montessori believed that children learn by doing, and teachers need to observe children's learning and instruction accordingly to be effective. Teachers are guides, not lecturers, which is a fundamental difference between this model of education and more traditional models. King certainly appreciated what students brought to the table, but ultimately was the teacher who was the body of authority who made the choices and not the students. This view aligns with the Christian metaphysical view on theology, in which God is seen as the first authority, and the educator is seen as being placed in that position of authority by God, and this can be seen in Romans 13. Montessori schools do teach the same basic skills as traditional schools, however the subject matter is often interlinked. This means that separate strands of curriculum are woven together and not necessarily organised into lessons or subjects. The American Montessori Society states that this approach to curriculum shows the interrelatedness of all things. It also allows students to become thoroughly immersed in a topic and to give their curiosity full rein, which is what the curricular emphasis of Montessori education is. Montessori have a very strong axiological value on aesthetics, of what is considered to be beautiful. This is shown in the way that the Montessori classroom is enticing for students and the materials and resources are beautifully handcrafted. As you can see, the Montessori approach encourages students to take great pride and responsibility in the classroom setup. This value links directly with the Christian value of aesthetics, that God created a world of beauty, which implies a personal responsibility to both appreciate and create beauty. At King's, subjects taught were linked in with a biblical perspective as much as possible. This is because King's has a very strong axiological value on ethics, of moral principles and practices, which is also evidenced in their school motto, diligent and faithful. The curriculum, like Montessori, aligns with the Australian curriculum, but the emphasis was on learning God's truth, and the epistemology of what they believe to be true has been the foundation for this school's curricular emphasis. Montessori's approach to teaching is on facilitating and giving students the tools to become self-sufficient and self-motivated within a mixed-age setting. The pedagogical strategies focus on the importance of learning through the senses and immersing students, whereby they have the freedom to choose what they desire. This contrasts sharply with King's traditionalist approach, that students listen and then do as they are told, due to the varying philosophical factors. In my years in primary school, learning was systematically structured and teacher-directed. The students had their desks in rows facing the board, and the teacher, who was clearly identified as being the more knowledgeable other, stood up the front of the classroom and taught the set material. King's used a more traditional approach to education, being more teacher-based than student-based, as the teacher was seen as the body of authority. They had a more formal way of teaching, with an emphasis on discipline, boundaries and behaviour management, playing a large role in the stricter atmosphere. In comparing King's and Montessori, the axiology is found to be highly esteemed in both models of education, King's valuing ethics and Montessori valuing aesthetics. Their metaphysics differ slightly, especially in a theological sense, concerning the authority and role of the teacher. King's provides a strong philosophical education based on Christian values and beliefs, and while Montessori education does not hold a Christian perspective or value, it does fit in with a Christian worldview. The sociocultural factors which have influenced this educational framework include the fact that Brisbane Montessori School and King's Christian College are both from an upper socioeconomic class. One is a Christian school, while the other is non-religious, as well as genders, cultures, and chronosystems that have developed over time. It has long been said that children are a product of their environment, and this is especially true in the early and primary years where the foundations are laid. While I acknowledge that axiological values, beliefs, and attitudes can change over time, the overall worldview that I now possess can be traced back to my primary school days at King's. This embedding of metaphysics and epistemology has influenced my axiological values and has been crucial in shaping who I am today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learnt as much as I have today.